Hey guys, today we're going to do the unboxing and overview of the Final Audio ZE8000 MK2 wireless earbuds. These are the flagship wireless earbuds for Final Audio. They're a Japanese audio company that makes mostly IEMs, earphones, and some full-size headphones as well, like the D8000 Pro. But they're mostly well known for making IEMs and earphones, I would say. But yeah, I've owned a few Final Audio products before, and I've shown them in my channel. Mostly I've talked about the B3 IEM, which are pretty decent. Then I talked about the VR3000. Those are also wired earphones. And the ZE3000s actually, which is the lower tier wireless earbuds from this company. But I've never tried the ZE8000 or the Mark IIs. So these are the newer version. I think they just came out last year. They're fairly recent. They retail for $400 US, brand new. So they're pretty expensive on the higher end of the wireless earbuds. But yeah, I didn't pick this up for the full price. That's actually quite expensive. I saw this being sold on eBay from a Japanese seller in good or excellent condition for $150 US. Yeah, I was curious to check these out because I've never tried the Z8000s or the Mark IIs. And yeah, you know, for that price, why not? I actually had a good experience with the Z3000s. They didn't have noise cancellation, but the sound quality was pretty solid, especially for that price range. I think it cost like $130 brand new, and $100 is what I bought them for. And for like $100 wireless earbuds, I think those were probably some of the best sounding wireless earbuds that I've heard in that price range. And I've heard quite a few wireless earbuds, so yeah, I was very satisfied with the sound quality of the ZE3000s, and those were the level below this one. So I have high expectations for the flagship version, the ZE8000s, especially when they retail for $400. That really puts it into territory competing with the best, really. You know, you're competing with like the Bang & Olufsen Beoplay EX or the Bowers & Wilkins PI8s. Like those are pretty much flagship level as well. Yeah, can't wait to see how these ones are like. But let's take a look here. This is packaged pretty much the same as any other Final Audio product. They all have this similar kind of packaging. I would say I call this a Sony packaging because it's pretty minimalistic in design, and Sony actually has a similar interface as well. But it tells you what you get in the package here. The main units, charging case, ear tips, 5 sizes. I would expect, yeah, 5 sizes is a decent amount, like of ear tips for a wireless earbud, and I expect that from Final Audio because Final Audio actually makes a whole bunch of ear tips as well, aftermarket ear tips for other IEMs. Charging cable, acoustic tool, and dust filters. Interesting. So it's Bluetooth 5.2, which is not the latest. It's still fairly recent, but it's not the latest Bluetooth. That's 5.4. You got Qualcomm Snapdragon chipset right here, which is usually used in smartphones, but they use it in the earbuds here. Frequency response is 20 Hz to 44 kHz. Codec supported. You got your standard SBC and AAC, which is the baseline minimum, but you also got aptX, aptX adaptive. Unfortunately, no aptX lossless or LDAC, which is a bit of a shame. I've been having trouble finding aptX lossless support for wireless headphones and earphones. I don't know. There's devices out there that have aptX lossless, but they mostly seem to be like players. Like I haven't really seen this too much on headphones or earphones yet. But aptX lossless would be nice, and they don't have LDAC either. I know that's a Sony codec, but Final Audio is Japanese. You would expect them to support like a Japanese codec, like LDAC, but nope. And then yeah, ADTV, of course, that's supported as well. IPX4, water resistant. And the noise cancellation is there. That's one of the big upgrades over the Z3000s. The Z3000s didn't have noise cancellation. These ones do. So yeah, let's take a look what's inside here. Okay, so Z8000 Mark II. Not exactly sure what is the improvements over the previous version, but I'm sure they tweaked the driver quality a bit, and the noise cancellation. I'm expecting to have a better noise cancellation in this one as well compared to the original Z8000s. Okay, fitting seal. Okay, this is some kind of just warning about the seal. By the way, you should have a good seal for earphones, in-ear monitors, wireless earbuds, whatever. Make sure you have a good seal because that affects the sound quality a lot. Most people don't take that into consideration, but it actually really does affect sound quality. Okay, so here are the earbuds. Let's take a look at the accessories first. Here, okay, so you get yeah, the one pair of ear tips already on there, I think, and then you got the 4 extra pairs here, which is nice. This is something that you don't normally get on like wireless earbuds. You usually only get like a few tips, if that, but it's really nice to have an additional 4 pairs of tips. You have a super small, small, large, and extra large. Yeah, so extra small, small, large, and extra large. So it's good to have an extra 4 pairs. I'm assuming it comes with a medium-sized pair. And then here we have USB-A to USB-C charging cable. And then we have a cleaning cloth, microfiber cleaning cloth. So yeah, this is a really good condition. I can't even tell that this was secondhand. I think this might have, like, it's definitely like an excellent condition or barely used, I think. The Japanese sellers, man, they take good care of their products. Okay, this is the manual. So let's take a look. Quick manual. All right, I'm assuming there's an app you should have download with this. These days, everything comes with apps now, especially with Bluetooth wireless headphones. Okay, in the box, place the earphones, close the case, charge the case, open the case, connect your device. This is pretty standard stuff that everyone should already know about and not need a manual for. Okay, so this is how to change out the ear tips. I might have to fiddle around to see which ear tips are the best for me. Touch controls. I'm not a huge fan of touch controls. I prefer physical controls. They're a little bit less finicky than touch controls, but you know, these days we have touch controls everywhere. There's not much we can do about it. So we just have to live with that. Just hope they aren't too finicky and not accidentally, you know, triggering or whatever. And there's just a lot of things to remember with them too. Right? When you have physical buttons, you can usually remember what they do. These touch controls, you gotta like memorize some certain like combos you have to do with your hands to figure out what they do. Okay, maintenance, extra features, 8K sound. What the heck is 8K sound? Like, what is even 4K sound anyways? I think it's just a marketing thing because 8K TVs, you know, which I also think people don't really need. Like, 8K TV is like, well, you know, what's the difference between 4K and 8K? It's like barely noticeable, right? But 8K sound, like, that's just, I'm pretty sure that's a marketing thing. What is 8K sound, right? So that's the app, right? No shit, I don't think, is the app really necessary? I would like to do it without the app because I tried to avoid putting apps on my phone for these things if I don't have to, because there's so many apps now, and like, I don't like cluttering up my phone. I just also like to experience the stock sound as well, so we'll see. So here are the earbuds, the case, which is definitely a bigger case than the ZE8000s I had before. And, oh, here are the wireless earbuds. Okay. So the finish is the same thing as all the other Final Audio products. They all have this crinkle finish or texture on all their products, and it slides open like that. Yep. And then you have the indicator here for the battery, which is, I'll probably need to charge this case, and the USB-C charging on the back. Okay, and this is what the ZE8000 Mark IIs look like. Whoops. These look pretty much the same as the ZE8000 Mark Is. Pretty much the same. The only way I can even tell there's a difference mostly is maybe like I have the Mark II packaging here. If it's not for the packaging, I don't think I would be able to tell a Mark I and a Mark II. They look really similar. So you got some microphones there, I think. And then you got the same kind of like texture finish. They look a lot bigger than the Z3000s. The Z3000s had this angular shape, but these ones are quite a different shape. They look like these sticks. They're taking a cue from the AirPods, I think, but they have these straight sticks here that look like nunchucks. Yep, and that's what they look like here. Okay, actually you can tell there's Mark IIs. Oh, okay, they actually print them here. Okay, that's good. So yeah, you know they're Mark IIs because they actually print them on the inside of these earbuds. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to tell if it wasn't for that. And it's good, it tells you left and right there as well. Okay, so yeah, ZE8000 Mark IIs, that's what they look like. They look like basically nunchucks. Yeah, it's quite a different design than the Z3000s. But anyways, let me charge them up. Leave this one, we'll go in this side. Okay, this is what they look like when they're charging. Yeah, back in the case, and then we can charge them up, and then I'm going to try to fit the proper ear tips so I get a good seal, and then I'll tell you guys about the sound quality. Unfortunately, when it comes to IEMs and earbuds, I can't directly like tell you guys or show you guys the sound quality because there's no like good microphone to measure them. Like with the full-size headphones, I can always, you know, use a microphone and kind of play back the sound, but with these earbuds, yeah, it's really hard to do that. So I'll just have to tell you guys subjectively my sound experiences and compare them to my current wireless earbuds, which right now are the Technics AZ80. That's currently what I use, but I also have the Bang & Olufsen EX, which is also a nice sounding pair of wireless earbuds, as well as the Audio-Technica TWX9s, which I don't have anymore, but I can do a comparison with that as well since I used to own those. So yeah, I'm going to compare the ZE8000 Mark IIs to the EX and the Technics AZ80, as well as to the Audio-Technica TWX9s, and tell you guys what I think, because these are all pretty much around the same level. If you're talking about expensive wireless earbuds, these are all playing at around the same level. I know Technics came out with a new version, the AZ100, so this is technically their previous flagship, not their current flagship, but still pretty good quality sound from this one. So anyways, stay tuned guys. I'm going to charge this one up, then pair them up, use the right ear tips, and tell you guys what I think. Alright, so after checking out all three of these wireless earbuds and testing the Final Audio ZE8000 Mark IIs, and I'm using my Sony Walkman A306. This is my digital audio player mainly for streaming stuff. So I like it because it's very small and it supports all the Bluetooth codecs, all the aptexes and LDACs and stuff. So yeah, very easy to test with this music player here. And I also tested not only the sound quality but the noise isolation capabilities as well. So basically what I did was I played a jet engine noise in the background, and I basically, you know, just tested the jet noise to see how much I still heard after I put the earbuds on versus taking them off. And I can only describe to you in percentages based on that. Okay, but here's my verdict. First, I'm going to just add the Audio-Technica TWX9s into this comparison, even though I don't have them right now, because I did own them for a while. So I do remember what that sound and the noise cancellation performance was like on that one pretty well. So when it comes to pure detail and sound quality, the Final Audio ZE8000 Mark IIs are pretty good. I mean, they're actually right up there with the Bang & Olufsen EXs, and these are still, in my opinion, the best sounding, like the best detail retrieval out of any of the wireless earbuds I've had. But the Final Audio ZE8000 Mark IIs come pretty close to the Bang & Olufsen's. Very good detail and resolution. I think the Mastering Dynamic MW08s also kind of come close as well. But yeah, I would say in terms of the sound detail, resolution, everything, I think the finals are actually on par with the Bang & Olufsen's, which is a feat, because I've checked out a lot of wireless earbuds, and the Bang & Olufsen EX has really surprised me by the amount of detail that they had. So I do think the sound quality overall of the Final Audios, yeah, it's on par with the best wireless earbuds I've ever tried, which is the Bang & Olufsen. So both of these are on top for sound quality. Now the tuning is a bit different. So the Bang & Olufsen's, they have a slight V shape. Yeah, most wireless earphones and headphones on the market have like kind of like this V-shaped curve, because they pump up the bass a bit and they pump up the highs a bit. That's to make the music sound more engaging and dynamic. So Bang & Olufsen does this as well, but it's not like a very big V-shaped. It's not a very steep V curve. So you only get a little bit of a bass push and a little bit of the highs, and the highs are very detailed on the Bang & Olufsen's as well. Final Audio doesn't seem to do that. The ZE8000s seem pretty lean and neutral actually, so they're a bit of a flatter earphone, I would say, in terms of like what you expect to when you listen. Compared to these two, the Final Audio ZE8000, the bass isn't going to sound quite as much in quantity, and the highs as well. So it's just going to sound a bit flatter in comparison to the Bang & Olufsen's. However, they sound just as detailed. It's just the sound quality. Yeah, the sound quality is still good. It's just as detailed and just as resolving as the Bang & Olufsen's, but yeah, it's just the tuning is different. The Z8000 is a bit more neutral, a bit more balanced and flat, whereas the Bang & Olufsen's, in comparison, is a bit more V-shaped. So you will hear more bass and more highs with the Bang & Olufsen. Although, yeah, overall sound quality, I think both are pretty similar. Just depends on the type of tuning you like. Although that can also be adjusted by EQ as well. But out of the box, without using any EQ app, the Z8000 Mark IIs are more flatter sounding compared to the Bang & Olufsen's. So again, not a good or bad thing, just depending on the type of sound you want. This is probably the more reference neutral sound. Bang & Olufsen's a little bit more fun and engaging. Okay, so sound quality, these two are on top. Now the Technics and the Audio Technicas I own, so the Technics AZ80 and the Audio Technica TWX9s are noticeably a tier below in sound quality. They don't sound as detailed or resolving as the Final Audios or the Bang & Olufsen's. They're both good. I mean, they're both like kind of high-end wireless earbuds and sound better than your typical AirPods. But yeah, compared to the Final Audio ZE8000 MK2s and Bang & Olufsen Beoplay EXs, they don't sound quite as detailed or as resolving. So overall sound quality, yeah, the Audio Technica TWX9s and the Technics AZ80, they definitely come in second place. And both of those are roughly tied with each other, I would say, in terms of sound quality. Yeah, they're good, just not quite to the level of these two here. Okay, but that's just talking about the overall detail retrieval, and tuning between the Audio Technicas and Technics are also pretty different as well. The Audio Technicas is a little bit of a slight V shape, kind of like the Bang & Olufsen's, just a slight V shape, a little bit of a bass push, a little bit of a high push, but nothing too much. The Technics, though, this one feels like it has more of a V shape. It definitely pushes up the bass more, and you can hear it in most tracks. Like the bass is almost a little bit too much sometimes, in my opinion. But for those of you guys who like your bass to be higher quantity, then the Technics does have that. I do feel like the V shape is a bit more noticeable with the Technics AZ80s. Yeah, I definitely felt the bass especially is more noticeable with these ones compared to the Audio Technicas or either of these two. So yeah, just in terms of bass quantity, the Technics AZ80 has the most out of all these. Although I would say in terms of quality, I would still prefer the Bang & Olufsen's bass over it. Okay, now let's talk about the noise cancellation aspect. This is where it gets kind of interesting. I think that the Final Audio ZE8000's noise cancellation is actually subpar. When I put it on the wireless earbuds and took them off, I'm just going to describe it in percentages. I don't know if there's a better way, but I could still hear roughly 60% of the jet noise coming through. And I'm just talking about putting it on versus taking it off. It cancels out about 40% of the noise, but then 60% still comes through. The Audio Technicas and the Bang & Olufsen EXs, when I put on the earbuds, I could hear about 40% of the jet noise still coming through, so they still block about 60%. So it's better than the Finals. The Finals, I feel like they block only 40%, whereas the Bang & Olufsen's and the Audio Technicas, they block about 60% of the jet noise coming through. The winner of this category is actually the Technics AZ80, because when I put on the Technics AZ80, I could hear about only 20% of the jet noise, meaning that it blocks about 80%. I'm just talking about relative speaking. I don't know exactly the amount of decibels, but I'm just telling you from my subjective listening experience, roughly the percentage of each. The Final Audio ZE8000 MK2s, the main downside is the noise cancellation isn't as good as these other ones. I think it still lets in about 60% of the noise, at least when it comes to jet noise. Yeah, Bang & Olufsen's and Audio Technicas, yeah, the Beoplay EX and the TWX9, they let in about 40%, so better than the Finals, but still like not really that good. But then the Technics, surprisingly, the AZ80s, and I don't know if I mentioned this in my review of the Technics or not, but the Technics AZ80 is actually pretty impressive when it comes to noise cancellation, and it let in only about 20% of the jet noise. So this is on top when it comes to noise cancellation. So yeah, that's basically my verdict. When it comes to the best sound quality between these guys, the Final Audio ZE8000 MK2 and the Bang & Olufsen Beoplay EX, these are still on top. Really depends on the tuning you want. The ZE8000 MK2 is more of a flatter, neutral type of response, whereas the Bang & Olufsen Beoplay EX is more of a dynamic, engaging response, a bit of a slight V-shaped. So it really depends on the type of tuning that you want. Yeah, so the Bang & Olufsen will sound more dynamic and exciting and engaging. Final Audios, I'm not going to say they sound boring, but they're definitely the more reference sounding earbuds. So they don't really change too much in terms of the response. They generally just let in what the artist originally intended, really. So this is more of a studio quality earbuds, if that makes sense, if there is such a thing. And then in terms of noise cancellation, the Technics AZ80 wins the award for the best noise cancellation out of all these guys. They canceled out the most noise, at least relatively compared to these other earbuds I was testing. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but that is my final verdict on the Final Audio Z8000s. By the way, the case for the Final Audio Z8000 Mark IIs is pretty big, so that's another thing to consider. If you have smaller pockets, it's definitely got a bigger case compared to the rest. I think it's about the same size as the Audio-Technica TWX9s, which also have a really big case too. So yeah, this case, the Final Audio and the Audio-Technica both have pretty large cases. That's something to consider if you have smaller pockets. But yeah, overall, really good sound quality out of these. That's nice, very reference tuning, but the noise cancellation is a bit of a letdown on this one. So yeah, the main disappointment for me would be the noise cancellation. It just doesn't seem to cancel as much noise as the others. But if you guys don't care about the noise cancellation as much as the sound quality, and you just want something that sounds pretty detailed and pretty reference and flat, doesn't change the original audio track that you're playing that much, in terms of frequency response. Like if we're just listening to something that the way that the artist originally meant, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of good for like studio engineers and people like that who really want to have that flatter kind of response. Yeah, the Final Audio Z8000 Mark IIs are pretty good for that kind of sound. Overall, if you tell me which one I would go for, if you just have one wireless earbud on me all the time, I would still go for the Bang & Olufsen Beoplay EX. It's just a really fun, dynamic, engaging listen, and also very, very good, well detailed, and just okay noise cancellation, I guess, but no, still better than the finals. So I would still go for the Bang & Olufsen out of these. Just really nice wireless earbuds. And actually these ones you can find cheaper now because these are a few years old now. So guys, let me know what you feel in the comment section below about this comparison. And if you guys have any questions, yeah, let me know.